everybody, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here, you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It does help us feed our hungry hippos. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today I'm setting up my Etsy so that I can begin cross-posting to the Etsy platform my listings from List Perfectly and get started on selling on a new platform in a new year. We did have to say goodbye to Macari. After the changes they made last year in April, we just saw a steady downhill trend on that platform for us, and it was not worth the time to maintain that platform. Even with List Perfectly, even with something that made it so simple for us to list over there, it didn't seem like it was worth the effort of the time anymore. Now, we do have over 5,000 active listings on Macari, so we're going to leave them there. And if they sell, great, we'll ship them out. It's extra profits for us. But I will not be expending any time on that platform. Listing, delisting, relisting. I might send out offers once a week. I might check on the weekends when I do my bulk offers on Poshmark. But I'm really not going to be expending any efforts or time on Macari. If sales start to pick up this year, if things turn around again, I'll rethink that. So instead of spending my efforts relisting, delisting 20 items and listing 10 fresh items on Macari each morning, I'm going to spend that time on Etsy. So that's our goal for 2025. We did already have a profile on Etsy set up because that is where I buy our bulk jewelry lots from the Whistle Pig Market. However, that was set up under Keith's name with our home address. I'm not comfortable having my home address on business accounts or stores. All of our selling platforms have a post office box as a return address. So I set up a new profile. I'm going to keep the one I set up for Keith to purchase from Whistle Pig, and I'll just buy from her on that and use this one as my selling. A lot of sellers do this. They'll, even on eBay, they'll have one account for buying and one account for selling, and that's perfectly acceptable if you want to keep those two worlds separate. If you want to keep your buyers separate from what you're buying as a buyer, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can set up 2 accounts. You can set up 3 accounts. We have a private eBay that we keep out of the public eye. So I set up this under my name. We have 2 work emails. So Keith's is under one work email. Mine's under another. We have the hippohutteam@gmail.com and flippinhipposhelp@gmail.com. We use both interchangeably. So this is also going to have the post office box, like I mentioned, and we're going to go ahead and set this shop up. You're going to watch me because I'm sharing the screen with you and I'm talking to you and I have no idea what I'm doing. Etsy is so brand new to me. All I've ever done with Etsy before, like I said, was set up Keith's like skeleton profile, bare minimum, and made purchases on here. But before I start going through this little walkthrough we're sitting at with Etsy walking me through making my shop, I want to make sure that my Etsy is linked to my List Perfectly. So when it comes time to create my first listing, I can easily cross-post. So I'm going to go to my catalog up here where it says connections in the dark blue. I would just push that, go down to Connection Wizard, choose Etsy. I know I'm logged into Etsy. I know I have a tab open sitting on Etsy, so it should connect very quickly and easily for me. Done. It was done before I was done explaining. You see it here. So here's our connected platforms. I do still have Macari connected here so that if items do sell on there, they will be removed from the other platforms. And if they sell elsewhere, they'll be removed from Macari. List Perfectly does all of that for me automatically. Okay, so if you've never sold on Etsy before, this is going to be a tutorial walkthrough for you with me, someone who's never done this before, so we can learn together. If you've sold on Etsy before, just hang tight. You can laugh at me if you'd like while I flounder about, and we'll get to my first listing. I kind of want to take you on this journey with us, starting a new platform. When I started our YouTube, we were already seasoned, at least for a year or 2, sellers on most platforms. I don't think you guys have ever seen me like start one from scratch. You've seen me start List Perfectly, but that's not a selling platform. Okay, so when you set up your profile on Etsy, you're going to set it up just like anything else. You're going to put in your email, your password. I went to my account settings and put a little picture of me and chose the name Star. I changed our address to a post office box. And at the bottom, there was a button that said start selling that led me here. And apparently this is going to walk me through it. There will be a $15 one-time fee to set up the store. And then after that, each listing will be 20 cents cost to list the item. Items on Etsy do renew themselves each 4 months. So anything I list today on January 2nd would relist itself on May 2nd and charge me another 20 cents. So you do want to keep an eye on that. We pay $59 a month for our store subscription on eBay. So I'm willing to pay up to $59 a month on Etsy for the privilege of selling, which is about 300 listings a month, 10 a day. I'll be able to keep track of all of that in my List Perfectly catalog. If you are not a List Perfectly user and you want to begin listing on Etsy and you have a budget that you want to spend each month, that's going to be up to you to keep track of. It's 20 cents a listing every 4 months. So anything I list today on January 2nd will renew itself on May 2nd and charge me another 20 cents. So you have to kind of keep track of what's selling and what's renewing if you have a budget in mind. So every listing in 4 months will automatically renew itself and charge me another 20 cents. There's the one-time $15 fee, and then there's 5% payment processing fees when you sell. And then, of course, they do offer promoted listings where you can sell, pay more to sell more, or pay to play. I'm not planning on doing that. So I'm going to pay my one-time fee and then do about 300 listings a month to make this the equivalent of having my eBay store subscription. We're going to give Etsy a year. So we're going to start listing today. I mean, unless it's really dismal, like if I put all the work in from now till May and my stuff is starting to relist and it's as bad as Macari was, in May, I may reassess that and change my mind. Okay. So let's just say we're on a trial run until May. On my birthday in May, we'll reassess our standing with Etsy. But let's get started. So they're going to ask you some questions as you go through this. What brings you to Etsy? I guess I'm going to expand my online business by selling. You can see the options here. What do I need help with? I don't need to know what to sell. I don't really need help on these because I already have a name and a brand. I already know how to sell online. I mean, I kind of know how to do all this myself. So I'm just going to say next. I'm going to start my shop. Okay, I want it in English. Okay, that's good. United States dollars. Okay, so this is going to be the Hippo hut because that's how I'm branded everywhere we sell. No special characters or spaces. Y'all are killing me, Smalls. How is the Hippo hut already taken? All right, so I tried several different variations of our store name, and this is the only one that hasn't been taken. I am new to Etsy, and I'm not sure how to search for specific stores. I tried some ways I know, and I can't find any Hippo huts, but I'm not here to argue with Etsy. I just want to get set up. I think the Hippo hut shop is close enough to my branding. This is what we're using. And it says you can change it later, right here. Okay. Sometimes good enough is good enough, especially when it comes to your valuable time. Time is money. Time is money. Okay, so now it wants me to list. I'm already creating a listing, but I don't want to create a listing straight on Etsy. I want to use my List Perfectly catalog. So what I'm going to do is go over here to my active listings. I'm going to type in the word vintage because that's what I want to list on Etsy. And I want to go to my newest updated items first because I know that those are going to have the AI title, description, and keywords. So let's move this vintage gray cameo choker over. So I'm going to click over here to crosspost, just select Etsy, and I'm going to copy. It's a physical item. Let's put here. Okay. I was having issues getting List Perfectly to cross post over here. And so I stopped recording for a second. I did some Googling. My shop is not technically set up. You see, I haven't gone through all the steps up here. So I don't think List Perfectly is able to cross post until everything's set up. So we'll continue to go through this process. I'll do this part manually. And then we will, at the end, try to cross post something. Okay, so I'm going to skip the promotion part. And here's the thumbnail and the description. Like I said, I'm just going to do this part manually. And hopefully once I go through all the steps of setting up this shop, it'll cross post for me. I wanted $20. Everyone says you can get more on Etsy, so I'm going to add 5. Probably going to add $5 to all my starting point prices on here. And let's see what I do, what I decide about shipping when we get there. I'm just messing around right now. I'm playing around. I can change things later. I just really want to figure out how to get this set up and get my first listing up. Blue. We'll just put blue here. And again, I'll come back maybe and do more. The tags I'm going to copy from List Perfectly. And sorry, it's a ring. I'm just going to say ring. And we'll say, I guess it's a statement ring. Okay. Shipping option. Calculate them for me. I usually ship same day, but we'll put 1 day, and then they'll just think they got it really fast. I don't like that it includes the weekends. So I'm going to have to go back in and do that. Because if you look here, you can change the holidays. Select which holidays you'll process orders on. I'm just going to offer priority in first class. And regular international. I think I'll do free domestic because I'm adding in $5. So that $20 price that I want actually means I'm going to list the same ring for $15 plus 5 shipping on eBay. And since I'm adding in another 5, I think I'll go ahead and do free domestic on here, but not international. Now, international shipping can seem daunting. I've always used the global shipping program on eBay, but I'm going to be using Pirate Ship, and it's supposed to be a walk in the park with Pirate Ship. And if I get my first international sell and it's an absolute nightmare and stresses me out, I will turn this off moving forward. I'm not going to do any separate fees. Okay, so did it ask me how much it weighs? It's just asking for, I don't know. I never put it in a weight, but we'll see. I'm just going to put jewelry here. Oh, down here it asks me for weight. My jewelry all weighs like 1 to 4 ounces, so I always just put 4 ounces. And I ship in a, I think it's 8x6. I'm just going to have the buyer be responsible for their return. I'll add a section for jewelry. I'm going to title it Fashion Vintage. I guess just fashion jewelry. Yeah. They should know it's vintage if they're on Etsy. Sure, we'll feature it. Now here it says that you can turn off the automatic. And I guess your listings would just end and you would renew them yourself. I'm going to see. I want to know what happens if you do it manually, like where it goes. But if it just disappears, you would have to do the work all over again. If it just went somewhere like on eBay, your unlisted, you could then relist them yourself and keep a better handle on your budget. Now, for someone like me that uses List Perfectly, that would mess up my item numbers and all kinds of stuff in my catalog. So I'll leave it on automatic. And save and continue. Oh, isn't it cute? All right, I'll do this later. I'm going to look at how I'm going to get paid. My bank is located in the United States. I'm an individual. Yes. All right, so this is going to require some of my bank information, so I'm going to fill this out and come back. I am back. I had to put in all of the bank information, a credit card on file for payment, pictures of driver's licenses, and a lot of personal information. So I kept all that off camera. But if you're new to Etsy and you're going to set up an account, it walks you right through it. It's very easy to do. It does require bank information, a credit card, driver's license front and back, which I just held up to my laptop computer, and then it took a selfie. So I did find out something interesting during all of that. The 20 cents that you're being charged for your listings will become due the first of the month and the following month, and any sales you make will offset that. So if I did list 300 items between now and February 1st, and I owed that $60 for listing fees, and I made more than $60, it would come out of what I made, and I would not owe Etsy anything for my listings. So I do personally kind of like that. I know some people might not. Okay, there was another step that showed my phone number, so I had to go off screen again. But here we are now, finally set up. There should not be any private information that I have to go off camera for. Hippo Hut shop is open for business. Let's explore the shop manager and see what happens. Or maybe not. Okay, well, that's not clicking through. So I'm going to fiddle fart around with this on my own. I'm going to go through some stuff and make sure that I'm more well acquainted, because I have clearly no idea what I am doing, but it should not be hard to learn. If you can list on eBay, you can list on anywhere. What I wanted to double check and make sure was that I could list from List Perfectly, crosspost. So let's see. Physical. I don't know if it's going to always make me do this, because I'm not a fan of this. But this could be an Etsy problem and not a List Perfectly problem if they're going to require me to do this each time. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this listed. I'm going to fiddle fart around in the back end of my shop on Etsy and get myself more acquainted with the platform. I am wondering if there's settings I can fiddle fart around with on List Perfectly that would help the cross-posting process go more swiftly. And I'm seeing already that the answer to my question is yes. The reason I thought to look here is because I know that on Mercari you could turn off smart pricing. So using List Perfectly, I can have some of these things already filled out. It's a physical item. Another company made it. It's a finished product, and it was made before 2005. So I'm going to go through here and set this up. This is why I love List Perfectly, because you saw that little front screen I kept having to fill out on Etsy. Well, now all of that will be automatically filled in for me. So I'm going to go ahead and fiddle fart around between my List Perfectly and this shop manager and figure out what the heck I'm doing. I will definitely be updating as the year goes on. Once I get the hang of cross-posting, I'm going to get into the habit of cross-posting 10 a day. Like I said, until I hit my budget, I'm going to keep track of when items are moved to Etsy on my List Perfectly catalog, so that in May I can come back and see how many of the items I listed in January sold. That's how many I can list in May. So if I list 300 items in January, those are all going to renew in May. If I sold 100, then I can list 100. If I only sold 5, I can list 5, just to stay within that budget. I hope that math makes sense to you guys. And again, I'll probably just start showing you what sold videos eventually. I don't know that there's really more to show you of my learning process here because I'm going to figure it out. I've got it figured out. I just need to get acquainted, I guess, and faster. And then I'll be doing it every morning. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about Etsy, I'm probably not the person to ask, but go ahead anyway. We can all learn together. Before long, I'll be a pro at this. It does not take long for anyone to learn any platform, honestly. They're all very simple once you get used to them. So I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around while this was a real struggle. And I'll see you in the next one. I appreciate you. Bye.